Hey guys, welcome back to releasethecraftin, and welcome back to day 7 of Poevember. That is hashtag Poevember24 if you are following along. Definitely check out all the makes and everything that everybody else is doing. It's all linked in the description box. There's a playlist, there's a hashtag to follow, there's Instagram, there's YouTube. People are making things and they're really cool, and I love it all so much. What am I making? I'm making a specimen card. That's what I'm making. For the prompt today. The prompt is music, and I kind of went a little bit leftways with it. I wanted to use music papers, of course, that seems very standard, but I didn't want to be super straightforward with my interpretation of it, so I chose to go with things that make their own music, and settled on bats and cats. Mostly the bats thing from the Bram Stoker Dracula quote of the creatures of the night, what beautiful music they make. That stuck in my head the entire time I was making this. And then cats, because I don't know if you guys know, if you don't own cats, my cats will often sing the song of their people at about 3 o'clock in the morning, which is the best time for songs. So yeah, I thought it was appropriate for music. Also, Edgar Allan Poe was a cat guy, and we love that here. We appreciate that on this channel, as we are also cat people. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. We're making music, doesn't make music, but we're making specimens of music makers. And just a little tip, if you guys use embossing folders, I actually don't use very many embossing folders. I do not have very many embossing folders, but I have seen that usually when I use embossing folders, they tend to just eat my paper. If you add a little bit of water, they don't. It loosens up the fibers of the paper, and it takes to the embossing much more nicely. Although you will see that I did have a little bit of breakage, but that has more to do with just the fact that the specimen cutout, that little arm is very thin, that little piece at the top. So it was kind of a coin toss of whether or not that would survive the embossing process, but it did. And it'll work because we're going to glue it all down anyways. And then I have some vellum, and I have these cat stamps, so I'm going to just emboss some of those cats onto this vellum so that they can feature in the specimen card in a mysterious way. And then I decided that their eyes, although very spooky, being totally clear, would be a little bit spookier if they were a little bit shadowier. So I added in some Payne's Gray Inktense pencil that I have there, just a little bit of watery color to add like a little bit of wash over the eye, so it just wasn't so plain and stark. The embossing folder process did take away the score line for the specimen card, but that was okay. We could add that line back in. I fortunately can draw a very straight line over a very short distance, so it worked out very well. Also, the line was still faintly there. It just wasn't as like recessed as it usually is when you're making these, but you can see where the breakage is. It's not going to be a big deal at all. It's really not going to impact this. And I just picked up this packet of music paper at the Recycled Reed store in Austin, which is like a library leftovers cast-offs, it's a really cool store. The books are like $1 softcover and $2 for hardcovers, and I could honestly spend $100 there if I was left unsupervised, but I was not this time, so I did not spend $100 there. But I got a really cool book of music, a really chunky book of music, so it will last me for a while, with very crispy pages, which I kind of love, because I could cut them with my fingernail, which is impressive because I don't have very long fingernails. But yeah. It's really great paper. It's got lots of really cool, interesting things. I picked out these ones because they say la 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 la, which I think is very similar to the music that my cats make. So I think it's on brand. I think it works. Or at least that's kind of what I think they're singing in their own special way. So at any rate, I just saw a spider. My cat, speaking of my cats, pointed it out to me, so we had to take care of that. But we're back. We're back in action, and I am not upset that there was another spider in my house. I'm not. So at any rate, I'm going to use our little vellum stamped kitties to be like an overlay on top of that music paper. It'll show up really well once everything is all glued down, but for right now it's a little bit misty, a little bit foggy looking, but I like it. The music paper falls into the background, and our little focal points get to jump into the foreground. And then I'm going to go over with this red antique wax. The base of this wax is actually brown, but it still pops out really well on on black cardstock, and I think it actually shows up even better than some of the other colors of this like Prima wax that I have that aren't the antique versions, because I think the brown sort of sinks into the black and makes the black darker and the red more vibrant, but that's just maybe me like wildly conjecturing on what's happening here. But I really love how it came out. It does add a very, very fun pop of color, and I will definitely be revisiting this idea when I approach the idea of making a vampire journal, because it's just really cool looking. The bats and the red on the black is very cool looking. So I'm very happy with that, and putting them together was a breeze, especially when I decided to forego adding in any brads for the little opening notches there. I might go back with some stickles. I have like a dark, like blackish, grayish color stickle that looks like iron a little bit that I might go back through and just pop in there, but for right now I was not going to be fussed with that because I have these to be fussed with and basically just too fussy cut, which is not super hard because they're rectangles. But these are from my Gothic words, the new Gothic words, which I believe are called Dark and Gothic, which are available as rewards on Patreon. Sorry guys. Eventually one day we'll add them to my shop, but I am not in a rush to add them to Etsy because I'm mad at Etsy. So here we are. For right now, they are available as a reward. They are not in the Patreon shop because on Patreon shop you cannot list anything under $3. And I don't charge that much for a word sheet. So it's just a reward for right now. But I printed them at a smaller size so that I would be able to use them in a smaller fashion, and they look really great, and I'm happy with it. I picked the one for Grimoire, which is a definition for an old female cat, which is appropriate because we're talking cats here, and then I picked the one for Orphic, which is, well, I can't read it, but I picked it because it has its roots with the word Orpheus, which is a name for a very famous mythological singer who was the daughter of Morpheus, or son of Morpheus, who had a very magical musical voice. So it was also appropriate for the theme of music. And I'm just adding in these little die cuts and trying to use up some of these. These were sent to me, so I have them in abundance and I would like to use them up, so I decided to add some more of that wax on top of that craft, and it gives me a different color red, and you can kind of see in the grungy way that it is, that's how it looks because of the brown base, but it comes out really nice and adds another layer of visual interest, and I love how these came out. So yeah, that's everything guys. Until next time, happy crafting. I appreciate your faces. Come back and see what we make for Poevember tomorrow. Bye!